Good
co-host
evening.
of the King's Court Podcast. And I'm here with some exciting news on today. So as you know, we are in a great month, the best month of the year, Black History Month. And not only is it Black History Month, but it is the month of love. And so we're going to do something different. We're going to switch it up. We want you guys to pick the topic for this month. So what we want you to do is simple. I want you to sound off in the comments. Drop whatever topic you would like to hear us talk about this month. And not only do we want you to drop your topic, I want you to drop your Cash App as well. Because whatever topic we decide to pick, we're going to be blessing that person with $50 on the spot. So, y'all go ahead and sound off in the comments. Y'all know how we coming. We coming on what day? A Thursday. You got it. So be listening out. Watch out for the King's Court Podcast. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Did somebody say Thursday? Like, come on.
Thursday.
Did somebody say Thursday? Welcome everybody to another edition of the King's Court Podcast with yours truly, done the Kingpin, coming at you live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, wherever you may be watching this right now. We thank you for joining us on this very cold if you're in Georgia or down south or whatever, north. It may be cold on your side, maybe rain on your side, maybe warm or whatever. We thank you for joining us on tonight, on this beautiful Thursday night. God has graciously given us an extra day in February. So we're going to take great advantage of it by giving y'all some great content on tonight. Of course, I am joined none other by my bro, a brother from another mother, playoff mode Tone, as he goes by on Twitter. Mr. Anthony Connolly, how are you doing? How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Excited to, be here talking with y'all, chopping it up on another good Thursday.
Oh yeah, man. We're so excited that you can join us on tonight. We know your busy schedule, but we so happy for you to join us on tonight. Another brother of mine, no other than Nate Butler Jr. Have an awesome channel on YouTube. All in with Nate. Doing some great things in the man leagues. How you doing, man?
Hey, I appreciate that shout out. Doing pretty good, man. Just enjoying this sleep day and getting ready to start the month of March, man. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. I had to throw that plug in there real quick, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And last but certainly not least, we have our dear sister, she's graciously blessed this channel, in a very, very special way. The owner of Coffee with Courtney over there, being New York's bestseller out here, about to blow it up on the Arthur scene out here. Courtney Edwards, how are you doing tonight, my sister?
What's up, everybody? Good to be here. I'm feeling good, feeling blessed, ready to march into a new month, march into all the blessings that God has for me in this month. Happy to be back with my brothers and excited to chop it up tonight.
Well, your brothers are happy to be back with you as well. So the feeling is mutual. As y'all saw in the video, in the promo, Thursday, we had a little special thing going on. We wanted to give back to our beautiful, beautiful audience out there in the social media world. And we asked you guys to give us your best topics, throw your best at us. And we decided on a winner, which we are about to introduce right now, along with our topic, the Journey of Healing.
Woo! Somebody got that hot 50.
And our winner is Armand Rivers. Congratulations, man. You just won the grand prize of $50. You have become $50 richer. One thing I will tell you, do not spend it all on food, but spend it all on whatever you want to buy, man. We want to thank you from the King's Court Podcast family here for that awesome topic, man. And we just want to give back to the community. We're going to be having many more of these. So whatever topics that y'all want to give us, please light the comment section up. Please give us your best topics so that you can be a winner. Because you never know, it may be more next time. You never know, but you got to get involved. But not to prolong the time, but we're going to get into our topic on tonight, which is, of course, the journey of healing. And we know that in today's time, healing is a process, it is a journey, it is something that you cannot rush through um overnight. It's not a process that is going to just complete itself with just a snap of a finger. It takes patience, it takes realization, and then this is a very, very special topic for all four of us, and I'm pretty sure it's a topic for everybody that's listening on tonight. But I'm gonna give my mic a rest, and I'm gonna let somebody else on the panel chime in on, this wonderful topic that we about to get into tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think having a need to heal is something that most people are familiar with, whether you're just experiencing, hardship in your life, whether, as far as it not going the direction that you wanted to, or you've experienced loss or experienced trauma, just all types of different things that can come at you in a negative way. And I think the most important part of it is like taking the first step, and that's just admitting that, hey, there's something that's impacted me, and I need to get it worked out. And so just accepting like that I need to heal in the first place, and also understanding that I need to make, or take the appropriate steps to on a journey to heal. And that's hard, because a lot of people, especially men, I'll speak from a male perspective. A lot of men aren't necessarily in touch with their emotions, and it's difficult for them to admit that they've been hurt or impacted by something. A lot of men out here, they just like to act like they're above it, like they're just not, not affected by, whether it's a external or internal thing. Just they're able to just kind of keep going. And that's kind of it's a really old school way of thinking. And I think, recently with the importance of, mental health and like understanding how essential that is, to, having a healthy lifestyle overall. It's not just about your physical, it's about your mental and your spiritual too. And so, being able to be comfortable in your own skin and understanding that, hey, something's going on and I need to take the steps to fix it, which it doesn't sound like a big deal, but for some people that's a really, it's a really hard thing to do. So.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you on that. The first step is to healing is acceptance. That's what I gather from you. You have to first, well, I'll say admittance. You first have to admit that you need healing. Um, that's the first step of truly uh, getting that healing that we all need is to admit to ourselves that, hey, we're not perfect. We have things on the inside of us that needs to be worked on. Um, we don't have it all together, like Ant just said. There's certain men out here, and then you can say people in general, that show them or portray themselves as something that they're not. They portray themselves as being higher up than what they really are. And uh we see that nowadays, that you have those certain people that can see through that, and then you have those people where they're able to identify uh the point to where that person needs healing. And so we have to realize that doing this journey, that is going to be a journey that you have to be comfortable with saying, I need healing. You have to be comfortable with saying that um I'm able to look at myself in that mirror, and to find those flaws, find those issues, and get to the root of what's going on. So the faster that we can do that, the faster the journey would be. And sometimes we get to the point to where the healing takes longer than expected because we're not being real with ourselves. If we just take that extra minute to be real with ourselves and to um admit to ourselves that we do need healing, then the journey would be so much easier. But it's something that um other people can't force upon us. We have
Right.
to make that journey ourselves, and it's a journey that requires independence. It's a journey that requires you to be at times selfish, you know. And there's nothing wrong with being selfish when you're trying to heal. So you have to realize that when it comes to healing, it's a self walk, and can't nobody do it for you. You have to do it yourself. So I'm gonna pass along the mic.
I got so much to say about this. It's so much to unpack here. Healing is not something that happens overnight. Um, I like to look at it when we're talking about a journey. If you take a trip somewhere, like a trip, I look at that as something you can do relatively quickly. You can get somewhere. Oh, I'm just taking a trip to the store. I'm taking a trip, a weekend trip. You know, it's something that happens relatively quickly. But when we take a journey, that's long. And there's nothing trip like about healing. It is in fact a journey. It is long, it's lengthy. um Healing hurts. um when we were kids and we were riding our bikes, we fell, we skinned our knee. When it's healing, before it gets better, it hurts. When we first do it, it hurts. As we go along, it gets better and better and better. And eventually, after a while, it's healed. But that's similar to emotional healing. You know, it's kind of like physical healing. It hurts before it's better. And so on this journey of healing, you got to be prepared to hurt. Because if you ain't felt nothing, you know, a lot of people like to throw around this word. Oh, I'm healed. I've been healed. I'm healed. I'm healed. I'm over it. I'm whatever. I'm whatever. But let me tell you something. If you ain't felt that thing, if you ain't hurt somewhere along in that process, then I question your healing. Because true healing, you feel something. It hurts you. You know, you got to go through, because it's a journey. It's long, you know, and you have to go through all the channels to get to where you're ultimately trying to get. I mean, you will get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that even though it's a long process, I feel like um, you can make it longer by not doing what you need to do along the way. It's long, but you could delay your healing if you're not doing what you need to do in the process. It's like the people in the wilderness, you know. Um, it was supposed to be like a what, 3 day, I think a 3 day journey or something like that. They ended up being out there years, 40 years. Why? You know what I'm saying? Because y'all delayed y'all own progress. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
think it's the same with healing. You know, we have to be, as Don said, you know, when you're healing, it calls for a little selfishness. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about self. You gotta focus on self. It calls for accountability. You know, I love that word. I throw that word around every episode. You gotta be accountable. You got to be accountable. It calls for vulnerability. You got to be vulnerable with yourself. You got to be vulnerable with God. Because ultimately, God is the one who brings healing. You know what I'm saying? We do what we're supposed to do, but ultimately, He is the healer. You know, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, to whatever, He brings about the healing. But we still
Mhm.
have to do our part. So, you know, it's a long process. But if you do what you need to do in that process, I think that, you know, you'll find it much faster than some.
You said so much in that. The one thing that I got out of that you said, and I agree with everything that you said, by the way. The one thing that I gathered out of that is that healing hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Healing does not feel good at all. Healing isn't something that you're going to be excited about. Yeah, I'm about to get my healing. Yeah. Because you're just focusing on the end result, but you're not focusing on the journey itself. You have, I love as a truck driver, I love the fact that I get to drive and um long distances, you know, because even though I may be so focused on the destination, oh, I can't wait to get to this route. I can't wait to get to this store. I can't wait to get to this yard. I take the time out to enjoy the journey. I take the time out to enjoy the trees, enjoy the lights, enjoy the buildings of cities that I pass. And what I mean by that is you have to take it all in. You have to embrace the journey and not just the destination. Because when you're focusing just on the destination, you forget about the lessons that you can learn throughout the journey. It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey. And we have to realize that the journey itself, it's not going to feel good, it's not going to look good, it's not going to sound good, it's not it's not going to be good. And we have to realize that in when it comes to the journey of healing, it's something that even though it's like medicine, even though we don't like to take it, we know that it's going to work for our good. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Nate, I'm pretty sure Nate didn't want to drink that medicine ball, but he knew that
Hey, them
he knew
medicine
that
balls.
it was he knew that it was for his good, you know. It helped him out. So that's how healing is. Healing, like Courtney said, when you get that, when that scab come off, it don't feel good, but the scab has to come off in order for that particular wound to heal. And sometimes we get into the place to where we just want to put a band-aid on it and think, oh, we heal. Just because you put a band-aid on it doesn't mean that you're healed. You're just covering up the wound.
That's it.
And doing the journey of healing, what God is trying to get us to is that He's trying to get us into a place where we just take the band-aid off. He wants us to look at that wound. He wants to realize that we do need healing. He wants to realize that in this journey, in this walk of life that we experience on a daily basis, that the wound has to properly heal. And the band-aid, the band-aid is just there to cover up what's really going on. But if you allow yourself to take that band-aid off, become vulnerable, become
Yeah.
exposed. That's the key. We in the journey of healing, we have to learn to expose ourselves. And that's what many people don't want to do. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want to be shown. They don't want to be spotlighted. And it's like in the journey of healing, you got to be welcome to exposure.
Yeah, you do. Because what happens if you don't is that you ultimately, it's a very familiar saying that hurt people hurt other people.
Yep.
And so when you don't put yourself in a place of vulnerability or exposing, so that you can deal with the hurt that you were caused, a lot of times we end up being the perp, you know, and doing the same thing to someone else that was done to us. So healing is critical. Like, it's important because if you don't, then you really run the risk of abusing someone else, and when it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another thing, just to add to what y'all talking about with the healing, is you got to be willing to go through the healing to get to your testimony. Sometimes that's the most uncomfortable thing to do. But the number one thing about healing is being authentic. You got to be willing to say, hey, I messed up on this journey, because you never know who you might end up using your journey to help out down the road. Because in a lot of ways, there are people that go through similar situations as you. You may be able to navigate for them, hey, this is how I went by healing through my journey. But of course, if you're not willing to speak and say, I went through this. This was a tough process for me. You stay stuck in it. You start to make irrational decisions because you didn't go through the healing process. So it's so key. And I love this topic because at the end of the day, it's not just based on a relationship. It's based on losing a family member, losing a job, changing cities. You never know what you have to heal from. But to get to that next step, you have to be willing to say, this hurt. And as Ant mentioned earlier, it is a challenge for a lot of men out here because at the end of the day, we are so built to say, okay, you're supposed to just go through it. You're supposed to you're supposed to navigate through it and not deal with it when that's the worst decision to make. Because ultimately, your bad decisions come down the road because you didn't deal with what you're supposed to deal with in the beginning. So it is key that you make sure that when you're on your healing process, that you take it day by day, as they mentioned, step by step, because ultimately that's going to get you over the top and to the blessings that you deserve down the road.
And
I got a
that's
question. Since I'm the only female on the on the pod, I'm curious to know, as a black man, why is it so hard for? I heard you say, we feel like we gotta hold it all in and keep it together. Why? Like, what made you guys get to the place where you feel like you cannot show, whether it be your vulnerability or whether you just bottle things up and you don't feel free to say when something's wrong?
Well, I think.
You
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Nate. I think it starts at a young age. Like you made the analogy about um, riding your bike and falling down and skinning your knee up, and it's like even at the young age, like boys, when we fall, like the expectation is like you get up, you wipe yourself off, and you don't cry. Like you hold it in, like you're tough, and like crying is seen as a sign of weakness, and that's a whole like entire different like conversation. But
yeah.
um, that's where it begins, and I think just as you continue to grow up, you're kind of taught that emotion. Um, Men, that's what really separates men and women. Women are emotional, and men are practical. We don't let our emotions show, especially like hurt or um, just anything that might appear like a sign of weakness, and you're just kind of expected to just get up and go and just continue down the path regardless of what's happened. And even in relationships, and again, this is kind of going in a different direction, but um, it can be difficult. A lot of men struggle, whether like having conversations about their mental health or just things that scars that haven't healed with their partner, because some women interpret that as weakness, and then that turns into um, you want to feel like your significant other is a safe place,
Yeah.
obviously, and you don't want those same things that you've trusted, like some of your deepest, darkest fears, the things that you've expressed to them, the things that you don't tell anybody else. You don't want those things to be thrown back up into your
Somebody
face.
just commented on that. So it was a
Yeah,
comment and somebody just hit on that. And
yeah,
that is so,
hmm
that y'all, that kind of hurts me. You know what I'm saying? And
oh,
I'm not saying that, I always examine myself when I'm talking to y'all, because I'm a woman. Y'all know I love my black men, and I never want to find myself in a position where, you know, I'm doing that. Like, so that's why I asked the questions, because I think that we need to be educated on how y'all are really feeling. And one thing I want to offer, I know I'm gonna give the other two a chance to comment on it, but I just want to say, like, y'all, it's okay to go to therapy, because that comment really stuck out to me, because it's like your partner, you do want to trust them, you do want to, whether it's your a girlfriend, whether it's a wife, whatever, like you want to believe this is my person and I can trust them, but at the same time, sometimes relationships can get complicated, you know. So I want to say that God and therapy is probably like that's just two of the best decisions that you can make. And I think that y'all need to hear more that it's okay to have a therapist, because that therapist is just, they're not biased. You know what I'm saying? You're not in a relationship with them. Okay. You got no ties to them whatsoever outside of a professional connection. It's somebody that you can really dump on, and you don't have to worry about being judged, right? You don't have to worry about none of that. It's just you really being able to express what you're feeling inside. And I just think that's so important. And I hope that y'all know, because y'all my brothers, I love y'all. I hope that y'all know that, I would never shun you. And I highly encourage, if you find yourself in a space where you're not doing good mentally, go see a therapist, because you can't trust everybody. It's sad, but you can't trust everybody these days. You know, sometimes I'm not a guy, but I would imagine it's hard to go to your homeboy and be like, hey, I'm struggling. You know what I'm saying? I would imagine it's hard for me to do as a woman. So I can only imagine it's probably 10 times harder as a man to go to another man and say, hey man, I'm not doing good. So I just want to say, like, please, y'all know I'm always screaming therapy, but that's only because I feel like it's a good outlet for you to be able to really just say what's on your mind without having to worry about the backlash that come behind it from friends and family, or the pressures of having to hold it all together. None of us, man, woman, cat, or dog, at some point, we're not mentally good.
And you know something, Core, I want to add to what you just said. Thank you for hitting that about that therapy, because I can tell y'all on air, I've been to therapy twice. Best decision ever. Because I promise you, like Court just said, it is an unbiased person that you speak to. I went to therapy when I was in middle school because I didn't know how to navigate dealing with someone speaking a certain way to me, picking on me, and all those different things. So my mom put me into therapy. So also, you also got to make sure you find the right one, because the very first one that I went to didn't know how to navigate where my mentor was at the time, and she recommended medicine. By the way, let me tell y'all this: if a doctor first thing say medicine, leave them, go find another.
Run.
Go find another one, because that's not what you're trying to hear. The second one changed my life for the better, and it made me be able to be that brother to go to my other brothers and say, hey, man, I'm proud of you. I love you, man. I got you back. If you need me, I'm here for you. And at the end of the day, I learned that early. And when we were younger, it might have been viewed weird. It might have been viewed like, oh, man, I don't know. Why are you talking about emotions? Because as Ant stated, when we grow up, you fall, you cry. Suck it up. You a boy. You a man. Men don't cry. Men don't say this. Men don't say that. So that becomes programmed in your head from the age of 4 to 14 to 24 to 30. Keep them going. So basically, when that's programmed in your head, it's one of those things that you're fighting it, because a part of you know it's okay to let your emotion go. The other part of you is saying, but I'm supposed to be a man. Now this person might say I'm weak. Let me throw this out here. Do not be afraid of what a person thinks about you expressing your emotions, because that particular person that's saying something about your emotions and you dealing with it may be going through a battle within themselves they cannot win. So do not allow that to stop you from dealing with your emotions. But, to add to what you said, that's one of the challenges is, you have to find the right people to talk to, because don't be afraid to reach out. And I see a lot of my lady friends, they all will sometimes lean on their sister. My guys out here, if you notice your person that you got your back, all those things, whether significant other, close friend, all those things, do not be afraid to open up and say, I need help, because I promise you, the biggest mistake you would do is allow yourself to go through it by yourself, and you take yourself away from here, and at somebody's at your funeral, like, why did he say anything? Why did she say anything? You got to deal with it when you're going through it in the particular moment. And that's where it comes down to for us as men in general, because we see or we hear what the previous generation did. Your granddaddy held down this and held down X amount of kids, held down X amount of jobs, and all those different things. So if you struggling, go through it. This your dad did this, your uncle did this. So it's sometimes a generational thing, and sometimes it's a prideful thing. And a comment said it earlier that the pride is the devil. And I'm gonna pass over to Don on that note.
Oh man, y'all saying some great stuff on here tonight. Um, I'm just gonna be transparent. Uh, for me personally, it's just part of it is cultural. It's the thing of like Nate and Antspin, what they said. You know, um, as a black man, this is what we've been trained to do. We've been trained to not show emotions. It's been driven into us not to cry. It's been driven into us not to show any type of weakness. Or you're gonna be labeled as weak. You're gonna be labeled as feeble. You're gonna be labeled as inferior. Um, when it comes to me, part of it for me is that I grew up as an only child. I didn't grow up. I grew up not knowing who my biological father was until I was 17 years old. And at that point, I was already dealing with a lot because uh, I was dealing with divorce, and I was dealing with my mom going through a divorce in the family. Uh, things of that nature. Then we constantly moved a lot. I was never settled, never in a place of stability. All that stuff, and like I said, just growing up as the only child in the family, I really didn't have anybody to talk to. I really wasn't in a place to where I felt comfortable enough to air out my emotions, to air out how I was feeling. And a lot of that contributed and a lot of that contributes to where I am today. Even though I am married, at times I don't tell my wife everything that I go through, because at the end of the day, I don't want to burden her what's going on in my mind as the head of the household. I feel like whatever's going on within me, I need to take that up to God. Um, I don't want to put that on her shoulders. So even though I do have those thoughts, I am learning to open up. I am learning to be, contrite and transparent to her, because at the end of the day, I don't want her to be left in the dark about what's going on with me. And so when it comes to men in general, it's just, you can't just pinpoint it to just one thing. You have to point to, okay, how did they grow up? How did they grow up? What type of society, what type of culture was they raised in? And we know as men, we was raised in a culture of, you don't show any weakness, you
Hmm.
don't show any emotion. And so that's a trend that we as black men uh have to abolish that. We have to eliminate that, because at the end of the day, I don't want my son or my daughter to be in a position where they cannot open up. Um, and like Latanya Longino says, it's a pride thing. And that's one thing that we have to realize, is that it's a pride issue. And that in itself is a journey. Is a process of the journey of healing. We have to get to a point to where we say, okay, I am dealing with pride, I am dealing with insecurity. And that's the thing for me, is like I had to get to a point to where I say, you know what, I'm dealing with insecurity, I'm dealing with pride. So um it's still an ongoing journey for me, I would say that. But at the end of the day, um with the help of God, and my brothers behind me, and my sister behind me as well, and everybody else that I talk to, um, I will complete the journey. I will complete the journey. And I thank you, Courtney, for saying what you said about therapy, because that's something that I've been considering for a while, is going to a therapist.
It's the
Um,
best decision you can make for yourself,
yeah.
brother. I'm saying it because I love you, but I'm saying it to any other person watching, male or female. but specifically for a male, because like I said, the pressure that y'all must carry, having to be the man of the house, or whatever the case may be. I would imagine that that's a lot. And I also want to say, I hate to pull. I'm not the person to ever pull the race card, but I'm gonna pull it here. I'm gonna pull it.
Pull it.
I wonder, are we doing this to our black boys? I don't hear a lot of white folks running down on their little boys like we do our little boys. And I say that because I'm a woman. So, we carry the burden of childbirth, child rearing, and I wonder, do white folks do their kids like this? Like, why do we do our children like that? Why do we say, get up, you got to stop crying? Why do we do that? What's that about?
What's so funny? And I was holding this comment before you said this. One of my good friends that I work with actually commented on there. But I gotta try to figure out how to not show y'all face on it.
But it might be because is the length of it.
Yeah, so it's a long comment, but this is basically, I want to show this real quick, then get y'all back on the screen. I know it's a long comment, but that right there basically answers your question.
Okay, I didn't see it. Like,
you didn't. You gonna put it back up there?
Yeah, I didn't
read it. Okay, let you get a chance to read it real quick.
That's good. That's good. But I wonder, and I'm just like, and I see the comment and I get it for what it is. But, I mean the severity of it, because I know as a black woman, and not just the boys, even the girls. I mean, y'all, I have a 9-year-old goddaughter that lives with me. And I say to myself all the time, like, dang, I should be a boy mom because I'm too tough. But even that, why would I be tough on my boy? But that's how my mind is set up. You know what I'm saying? I need to be a boy mom because I'm too rough. I'm too tough on her. And so I need a boy, because a boy, I could be tough on a boy. But no, should we really be that tough on our boys?
Yeah. I'm sorry if I cut you off. You
no, you're okay. You're okay.
It's ironic that you went that way, considering that it is the last day in Black History Month. But it is something to talk about. And I believe it has something to do with this. I've heard many times, and I've come to the realization that it's true. Slavery is not gone. It evolved. And I feel like, to me, it seems like this is more prevalent in the African American community than any other community. It's because if you go back into slavery time, where were we? We was in a place of inferiority. We was in a place of submission. We was in a place of less than. And nowadays, because that particular mindset wasn't dealt with, you see it now being it's been passed on to from generation to generation to generation. That mindset hasn't never been dealt with. So I feel like when these parents, they tell these kids, hey, don't show no emotion. Hey, don't cry, because somewhere in their life, nobody made sure that they were okay. Nobody made sure that they were fine. Nobody made sure that they needed therapy. And it seemed like that hurt, that hidden insecurity was passed on into the kids. And it's a perpetual cycle. It's a perpetual cycle.
I agree with that.
I feel like nobody, no, you good. Nobody down the line really dealt with that mindset.
Yeah.
Nobody dealt with that mindset. It's just, it became the norm. Yeah. It's the norm,
And I think what we now need to do is normalize breaking that.
Yes.
Well,
because who's going to do it if we don't?
No, 100%. It all goes back to the idea, generational curses. Like, masculinity there's a lot of nuance to that topic, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are white males that are impacted in the same way, but I feel like it's such a masculinity and what that looks like in the black community is such a larger like subject in the black community, and it's like, you know, you said earlier on, you know, hurt people, Courtney, and
Yeah.
so like, you know, these people that have like experienced this trauma and never healed from it, they're just passing like the same. It's like it's happening every generation, and you know, you can't truly like recover from it until one person decides to break that curse,
Yeah.
or to change the dynamic of what that looks like as far as their family is concerned. So, and that's a tall task, and it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of vulnerability to do that. And um, like we're saying here, it's a journey. It's not an easy decision to go down that road, and deal with everything that's kind of impacted you in a negative way.
Yeah, that's true. And I want to challenge all of us, like I said, because this isn't, when it comes to childhoods, it's not just a boy girl thing, even though y'all had it a little harder, I'll say. But one of the hardest things that I had to do as an adult was heal from childhood trauma, because in my mind, it made me like I was afraid of making my mom look like a bad parent. So it took me a long time to come to grips with, Courtney, you need to heal from childhood trauma, because I kept saying in my mind, well, there is no childhood trauma, because if there's childhood trauma, that means I had a bad mama, and I didn't have a bad mama. That's not true though. So I want to put that out there today. You can, just because we suffer childhood trauma doesn't mean that our parents were bad people. It doesn't mean that they were bad parents. No parent is perfect. There's always going to be something that, you know, we're going to fall short in some kind of way with this parenting thing. I'm learning that now, even though I don't have any biological children. I'm raising one, and I learn every day that parenting is a learning curve. You're going to get some stuff right. You're going to get a lot of stuff wrong. And, you know, we just have to be careful, because we have a little person's soul in our hands. We got their life in our hands. And so we have to be careful, and they grow up and they become adults. But as a result of things that happen in their childhood, it shapes them into the adults that they are. And sometimes it causes them to have to heal from some things. Doesn't mean that parents are bad. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I think a lot of people are holding up the healing process by not even acknowledging. I think, Don, you said that at the beginning of the show. It's like you gotta come to that acceptance that, hey, I need this happen. I need healing. I need it. And so I don't want people to delay their healing journey because they feel like it's going to make their parents look bad. That's not true. You got to do it. It is what it is. I had to heal from a lot of things. I love my mom. She's the most important person in my world today. But there were things that mama didn't get right. No. It doesn't make her bad, but she didn't get it right. And as a result of mama not getting it right, it caused me some scars and some sores and some pain that I had to deal with as an adult. So I just wanted to put that out there too, that, you know, don't delay the journey of healing from childhood trauma. The sooner that you face it and get on top of it, the better parent you will become if you have children. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have children, when the time comes, it'll make you better, because you've already addressed what was done. Because if not, remember what I just said, hurt people. We will grow up to repeat the cycle, what our parents did to us. And that's what you were talking about with this generational thing. So that's why I said we got to normalize, where does it stop? Where does it end? Mm-hmm. I say it's going to end with me, because I'm going to tell her it's all right to feel. I'm telling her now. And actually, in the spirit of transparency, I'm in the process of securing a therapist for her at just 9 years old. Why? Because I want her to know that it's okay to talk to somebody about how you feel. It ain't got to be me. Mm-hmm. I get it. You don't want to talk to G Mama. I want you to talk to somebody that you can feel free to say whatever, and you don't got to worry about, well, G Mama's not going to like this, or G Mama might say this, or it might make her feel bad. No, 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 no. Get it out. Get it out. So we're charged with that. We got to do that.
And a lot of people have to understand that parenting, it isn't like a pass fail proposition. And so, like, grading them on that scale of, hey, if I experienced some traumatic things during my childhood, that doesn't automatically mean that they were bad at their job. And no one's perfect. We have to remember that. Like, our parents, a lot of them were doing the best that they could considering like the circumstances, and unfortunately, some trauma got inflicted on us as a part of our growing up. And so um and that can be a really difficult conversation to have with your parents, and trying to help them understand that actions that they took in the past had a negative impact on you, especially when, like, what they may consider to be like a normal part of the parenting process, especially from like a cultural perspective, as far as being black, the black experience. And so um, those are difficult conversations to have, and you just gotta. Um, they may not immediately be receptive to it, and you have to be understanding and accept that it may take more than one conversation in order for you to get to that destination where they understand where you're coming from. And just be patient. Don't resent them, and just try to get them to understand, but also understand their position as well.
Yeah. And I and to go and to piggyback, and of course, Court and y'all said some great things as always. Just to piggyback off what Courtney said about the whole, um, our parents wasn't as great as we wanted them to be. It took me a while to understand that. I mean, it really took me a while to understand that, because for a while I did have some resentment towards my mom. Even though um I love her dearly. Hey mom, you watching? um, I did hold some resentment towards her, basically because of the fact that I didn't have a father figure growing up. Because in myself, I felt as I felt like if I had a consistent father figure in my life, that I would be a better man right now than I am today. I did feel that way. But one thing I had to realize was that she tried the best way that she could. And compared to where I could have been, because we know the statistics of black men, where they end up if they don't have a consistent father figure in their life. you know I could have ended up in jail. I could have ended up in the streets, or worse, I could have been dead. But uh thankful to God that he kept me, even though I was, an only child and I didn't have a father figure in my life consistently. I'm here today. I'm a husband. I'm a pastor. I'm a truck driver. So I was able to make good of myself, because in that part of my life, I did take that journey of healing. You know, Not saying that I don't have other things that I'm working on right now, because I'm not perfect. Of course, there are other things that I'm allowing God to do in my life. At the same time, just looking back where I came from, and just looking back at that conversation that I did have with my mom, that she sat me down, she told me the reason why um certain things happened in my life. I began to get a better understanding of, okay, she dealt with things too. And I had to realize that, okay, um it's not just about me and her, but it's about her and her mom. Because um even though I love my grandma, um, her and my mom didn't have the best relationships at times. And I know that from my grandma's standpoint, her and her mom didn't have the best relationships. So you're going to have those situations where everything with our parents ain't gonna be peaches and cream.
Mhm.
And you just have to take the good with the good, and take the bad as a lesson. So like Courtney said, we love our moms. but we have to realize we love our parents, but we have to realize that they didn't get it right. And once we understand that, then they'll give us a focus. They'll give us something that we can abolish ourselves. Okay, I seen how mom did it. I seen how dad did it. I'm gonna make sure I don't do it in my own family. I'm gonna make sure that my kids don't see that. So um yeah, this has been great so far.
I love that. I love where you went with that too, because similar. Me and my dad, we're good now. We're good now. We've gotten a better relationship as adults. But growing up, we were not in the best space. Like, I was around them, but it wasn't a connection that I wanted to have. And I seen other family members have with their dads, other friends have with their dad. And it was nothing that I never held it against my mom. Hey, appreciate that, man. But anyways, it
We the
was
goat
something
too
that
though, but that's okay. That's all right.
hey, man, but it was never nothing I held against my mom, because the beauty of where I may have felt like I lacked in one spot, I gained it in other areas. My granddad was a consistent father figure. I had uncle step up. I had a older cousin of mine step up and be like a father figure. So there were people that showed me the way to be a man, even though the number one person that you desire wasn't able to do that. So you learn from sometimes you have to learn from who is blessed in your life. And sometimes you have to also learn from who is not a part of your life, because at that time you just don't know where they could be at a particular point in their life. They may not be able to navigate you to the next level that you go to. So you learn by seeing this is not what I want around me. This is what I'm going to do when I become a man. This is what I'm going to do when I become a husband, a father, a wife, a daughter, a mother, all those different things. You learn those things growing up. And that's one of the things that I can truly say that I did learn, because ultimately my granddad taught me a lot of things. And eventually I got those things from my dad as I got older. But you also look at things when you go through this journey called life, you have to realize that people are placed in a position in your life at a time for a reason. So that's one thing that I always went back and appreciated about the journey that I was on when it came to the maybe the lack of this here or the lack of this there, because sometimes you learn by watching different scenarios, different situations, different people, different things that you go through in life, because thankfully I had other male figures step up to be that father figure. I learned a lot from those male figures. So that was one of the things. And as y'all said, every parent don't get it right, but at the end of the day, they also put you in situations where you are able to be around people that put you in the position to learn, to navigate and to grow. So I love where y'all went with that as far as the parent situation, because ultimately I thank my mom and my dad. I thank them for all the lessons that I learned. I
You do
thank
too.
all the
Yeah.
father figures, mother figures that stepped up in my
Yeah.
life, where maybe my mom may not have understood this, maybe my dad didn't understand this, but you taught me this or you taught me that. So when you go through life, always keep in mind who was a figure along your journey. Like, Court, I'm proud of you of what you're doing and the things that you are navigating with your goddaughter. That is beautiful to hear, because ultimately she's gonna get older. She's gonna say, I remember when my godmom took me here, took me there, took me this. I learned how to become a better woman because she worked with me before I hit that stage of where
Mhm.
everything goes haywire in life, and not in a negative way. But once you all understand, because we went through being a teenager and a young adult, that you start to see millions of things that you're trying to figure out. Is this how this should work? Is this what I should do and shouldn't do and should do and shouldn't do? So I'm gonna pass it over.
Yeah. I definitely love what you said right there, Nate. And you know, we have to give credit to those consistent people in our lives that did help us along the way. That God um per se filled in the blanks in our lives. If your mom wasn't there, God surrounded you with a mother figure, a mom figure. If your dad wasn't there, in my case, he surrounded me with brothers that I can depend on, that I can go to and talk about the issues of life, and don't have to worry about being exposed and talked about and ridiculed. They understand, they sympathize what I go through. So I thank God for the lessons that I've learned throughout my life, that my mom set me with. And I know sometimes some people do make the joke of, calling me a PK and church boy and all this type of stuff. But I thank God that my mom instilled that foundation in my life, of growing up in church, because it got me into a place to where, and I'm even learning this right now, is that it's okay to depend on God. Because if I can expose myself to him, the one who created me, the one that knows the hairs on my very head, how am I supposed to know how to expose myself to other people? It has to start with him. And that's the thing that I've learned throughout my life, is that no matter what I'm going through in my journey of healing, God understands. And that's the key. God understands. If you feel like nobody understands, God understands. He created you. He already knew what was going to happen in your life before it happened. He already knew that, hey, your father may not be there for your entire life. Hey, your mom may not be there for your entire life. But he also set you up for greater. He put certain people in your life that he knew was going to help make you a better man, a better woman, a better person. He knew all this stuff that was going to happen. The Bible says that he knows our end from our beginning. So that means that from the day we was conceived until the day that we eventually are going to die, he knows everything. So it's okay to go to him. That's one thing that I've learned throughout my life. It's okay to go to God, and it don't have to just be on your knees. You can talk to him as if we're talking to each other, as like we're talking to each other right now. That's how I talk to God, because that's how our relationship is. So you know, like Nate said, you may not have had everything when you was growing up, but you have to take into account everything that you did have. And the most important thing is, you have to appreciate we have to appreciate what we have more so of what we didn't have.
100%. um, I guess to maybe wind us down on this topic, I was gonna say, like, I saw an article on LinkedIn, and we can put it in the description of the video, but they stress the importance of like building or enhancing your support network. Um, and so, what are some of the traits that y'all look for in those individuals that you consider to be your community, um, just to make sure that you have the right people around you, as far as um, just surrounding yourself with people that you can trust and um, really know they care about your well-being, as far as being on your healing journey. Like, how do you go? What's that evaluation process look like for y'all, and what traits do y'all look for in those individuals? Anybody can go.
Anybody, come on.
Did y'all hear what I said, or do I need to repeat it?
Run it back one more time.
All
One more
right.
time.
So when it comes to building or developing your community of people, like, they kind of surround you and support you as you're going through your healing journey, what are some of the traits that you look for in those individuals, just to make sure that you're creating a safe space for yourself?
Uh, let's see. Armand says, "What's going on, Ken Folk?" To the winner, Mister Fat Pockets over there. What's up, big brother? Oh, he said, "I'll say genuineness, stability, kindness, grace, and uplifting." Man, that's some
Yeah,
great
those are
qualities
all.
right there,
Yeah,
man.
those are all
Those,
really good traits.
yeah,
Absolutely.
those some really good traits right there. Along with that, I would say integrity. I would say security. I would say um understanding.
Yeah.
I would say unbiased. Um, I would say just a trait that will allow the other person to be like I said, unbiased. Tell me how it is. Tell me the truth. Even if I don't like it, still tell me the truth. That's some of the traits that I will look for into that type of culture.
No, 100%. I agree with you. Yeah, I think just someone who is loyal. That's extremely important. Like you said, there needs to be in regards to the community. It's like knowing that you have a trustworthy person that even when they see you struggling or going through your dark times or bad times, that you understand at the end of the day they're going to have your back. You know, either way, and so um, that's super important.
Yeah. Court.
Yeah, I'm feeding a kid. She's on Bible study. I'm trying to make sure she's muted. So make sure I'm muted so y'all can't hear what's going on over there. Listen, I got a lot going on in this living
We
room.
want to hear the word.
Okay? Now listen, I need y'all to run the question back one more time. Okay?
No,
One more
yeah,
time for me.
sorry. When it comes to like building your community or your support system, as you're on your journey of healing, like what are some of the traits that you look for in those individuals just to make sure they're a good fit?
Got you. I'm going against the grain here because when I'm healing, and this isn't for everybody, but this is my thing. When I'm healing, my circle is so small that a lot of times it doesn't include people.
Okay.
I am 1000% dependent on God. I'm 100% dependent on myself. And then, in the interim, if I need somebody, I lean on that therapist. Now, that's not to say that, I don't talk to anybody, and if I had to say, I would just say that I would talk to someone who survived what I'm going through. I would one of my requirements would be, have you healed from what I'm experiencing now? Because I'm only going to surround myself with people who understand what I'm going through. If you don't understand what I'm going through, there's no need for us to be talking. For example, I'm divorced and I had to go on a journey of healing post divorce. Well, why in the world would I surround myself with a whole bunch of single folks who ain't never been married before? No.
Ooh, tell me
I
about it.
need to I need to I need wise counsel from somebody who've
Mhm,
already experienced this, from somebody who's on the other
mhm.
side of this already. If I'm a crackhead, why would I go and I need an ex crackhead that's gonna help
Man,
me
you a
through this
crackhead?
thing. Tell me I can make it. Tell me I'm gonna make it to the other side. You know what I'm saying? I need an ex crackhead to help me through. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest thing. I need somebody. And y'all, watch this. Sometimes it's not always friends and family. That's what support groups are for.
Yeah.
Sometimes your biggest help will be a complete stranger. Why? Because
Mhm,
they've gone through it, they're on the other side, and they can help you. You know what I'm saying? So
mhm.
I would say that surrounding myself with not a lot of people, but if I had to build a small circle of people that I needed to, converse with, it would be someone who understands. That's, you gotta understand, because if you don't understand, you can't help me. You got to understand in order to be able to help me. So understanding, and then also with understanding, I need to be held, accountable along the way. So somebody who can understand what I'm going through, who's already gone down that road, made it to through that journey of healing, and somebody who can then hold me accountable to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to make it to the other side too, so that then I can turn around and help somebody else.
And before you and yeah, and before you go, Nate, I'm just gonna piggyback off of Courtney because as a person who has gone through divorce, I completely understand where you're going through. Um you talking about a journey that right there. Whew. Oh man, you will start seeing some things about yourself that you don't even like. Um you know, I was in a place to where I didn't know who I was because I was just so accustomed to being who other people wanted me to be that I came out there not knowing who I was. And so during that journey of healing, I had to first go to God and get my identity back because when you're connections are important. Godly connections are important. And when you're connected to someone or something that is not ordained by God, they will rob you of everything that you have. They will rob you of your identity. They will rob you of your joy. They'll rob you of your peace. They will rob you of your destiny. They'll they'll try to rob you of everything. And so during that whole journey, it was just a journey of relearning who I am. You know, who is Dontario? What does Dontario like? What does Dontario not like? And it helped me to set boundaries for myself. Okay, when I do get married again, what am I going to accept? What I'm not going to accept? What are the things that I'm going to tolerate? What are the things I'm not going to tolerate? So that whole process of healing after a divorce, yeah, it was long, but at the same time, it was needed. And one of the things that I had to learn was that um I cannot force my wife to pay for the sins that
Yep.
my ex put me through, because those two are two different people. Um and so that was one of the things that I had to learn during that journey. But yeah, I just had to drop that in there because um Courtney, if you feel like nobody sympathizes with you, just know I do, because I know how it is.
Yeah, I do agree with I agree with what Court was saying. I also agree back on the Armand coming about having somebody that's unbiased and accountable, being accountable. Because honestly, sometimes when you go through your healing journey, and I'm sure y'all had a friend, a family member, somebody to be like, yeah, man, I was all right. I was going through it last week, but today I'm just doing great, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, I'm doing that, I'm doing that better. When you know good and well they're not nowhere where they need to be at. You got to be willing to be held accountable for where you are in that stage of life, because eventually you have to get past what is hurting you, what's holding you back. Because if you stay stuck in it, it's going to carry down the road. It's going to carry into your decision making, as I went back to earlier, that you make down the road. Because, and imagine you said that you have went through a situation 2 years later, you made a decision talking about, well, back in 2022, I did A, B, C, D, and E. Why are we still living 2022 in 2024 if you truly heal? So
Mm,
you got to have somebody in your corner that's going to keep you accountable and going to be able to tell you, hey, you're slacking. Come this way. Go this direction. Go that direction. And they got to be unbiased with you. There are sometimes, as Court mentioned, it could be a close friend. It could be a stranger. Sometimes a person is brought into your life to tell you that one statement is going to change your life. You might hear it and they may not realize what they said to you, but in your head, you're like, man, I needed to hear that. That's something that you will carry with you along the way. Like, prime example, just to throw an example, and this is not talking about Hill, this is mentioning a person's story. As Don mentioned, as I drive trucks like he do. So a guy that's transitioned to the trucking field, he is he was in the military. He didn't know how to navigate being a civilian again because of his militant teachings. So he thought something was wrong with him. So he's still navigating step by step in life. And I heard him encourage another individual who came from the military. So you just don't know who you may touch. That person could come and just be around for 5 minutes and left a life changing statement. So I say that to say this: it is so key to keep people in your corner that's gonna be unbiased with you, that's gonna tell you, hey, I love this progression you're making. This is not the road I want you to go on. Either way, they got to be able to be in that corner to tell you. And going to the accountability, they got to be able to say, why are you doing this? Okay, you're doing good at it. So you have to be willing to give and take with the journey of healing. And that's all I have to say on it.
Y'all, if y'all don't mind, we've been like talking the whole time. It's been so good. But I do want to like open up the floor to all of our viewers so that if anybody has any questions y'all want to ask on the panel, if y'all are dealing with something maybe you need advice on, of course it's a podcast and it's an open podcast. So if y'all want to sound off in the comments and ask any questions or make any comments, or if you need advice, we want to give you the space to do that before we wrap tonight. So we are here for you on your journey of healing, to give advice or pray with you or answer questions or whatever you guys need. So if there's any questions, comments, y'all go ahead and sound those off in the comments.
And we do appreciate anyone who gives us feedback or participates in the questions. I just want to say anything at all, because we don't exist without y'all participation. So
yes, sir. To pick back off what they're saying, we thank all of you that's giving great feedback, great comments. You do not realize how much y'all carry the show along with us. Like, you keep us going because you're simply feeding back the same energy that we're putting out into the atmosphere.
Absolutely. I love talking to my brothers, but I love seeing those comments pop up across the screen. Like, it keeps the conversation brewing. I mean, I could talk to them all night, because we could just keep it going. Because I just like to talk. But I do appreciate you guys for always tuning in and participating. It makes a world of difference.
Yeah, same here. Like we say all the time here, we're nothing without you guys. You're the ones that makes the episode so great. Like Courtney said, we can stay up here all night and talk. But at the same time, we love to hear what y'all have to say, because we understand that not only we deal with stuff, but y'all deal with stuff as well. And we want to be that beacon of light. We want to be that safe haven to talk about those issues. Yeah. Please, any questions or comments, please chime in, because we want to help you guys out. When did you feel you turned the corner after your divorce, the relationship that ended? I've in my process of healing from an engagement ended, and it was rough, but I've let God work on me. See, that's the thing for me. If I could speak first on that, you really never know when the journey ends. You never really know. It's just something that you have to work out on a day by day basis. Um, you know, Many people think that divorces are just difficult on the woman's side, but they're difficult on the men's side as well. Like I was saying earlier, I went through a process of trying to regain my identity back, and it didn't happen overnight. Um, that process did not happen overnight, and that's something that I had to continuously walk out, and allow God to work on me um with. And there was even points in my current marriage that I was still going through that process, um because there were certain triggers that I began to notice that was causing a hindrance not only on myself, but to Jen and my marriage right now. And I had to just allow God to fully heal me, um, and not get into the habit of thinking that I'm healed enough now where I can just walk. I can just walk out on my own. It's like being in the emergency room when you're going through surgery. Um, you have to wait until that doctor gives you that release order, until you walk out the hospital room. And what I began to realize is that, okay, I can't just because I feel healed enough doesn't mean that, okay, I can walk out the emergency room. No, I had to wait until I was fully healed, until God gave me those release papers to say, okay, now I can be released out the house, out the emergency room. When you begin to not try to rush the process, because it hurts, then you will fully realize that the true healing can begin. And the one thing that I had to learn in my process is that I couldn't skip steps. And when you skip steps, you miss out on very key important ideals and certain things that God is trying to show you. So during this process, Armand, even though it's difficult for you, just know that God is with you. He loves you, and he knew that this was going to happen. But he also knew that there was greater on the other side. It may not feel like it right now, it may not seem like it right now, but just know that there is greater on the other side. And sometimes certain things happen for a reason. You never know. That might not have been the person that God had for you. He probably got somebody better for you. He probably got somebody that's more that's compatible. That's the word. Thank you. Thank you. That's compatible with you. And in that same essence, even though it is difficult, you just have to keep that belief and that faith that there is better on the other side. So that's one thing that I will give to you for that
Um,
question.
can y'all put that back on the screen because I want to make sure I hit every component of his question.
There you go.
So the first question, when you feel you turn the corner, my answer to that is there's several corners to turn. There's not just one. I turned the first corner when I realized it was over. But just because I realized it was over doesn't mean my ex-husband realized it was over at that time. So my first corner to turn was me realizing this is done. My second corner was when he realized it was done. The third and final corner is making the decision to, call it quits or, move forward with the separation, the divorce. Again, we're talking about a journey. That's the very, you ain't even on the track yet. You just walking to the track when you turning them first couple of corners. The real process starts after it's all said and done. So I see you say you're in your process of healing from the engagement. And what I want to say to that is kind of similar to what Don said. And by no means, please do not feel like I am belittling what you are going through, because it is painful. Healing is painful. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, healing hurts. No matter what stage of healing you are in, it hurts, And so I'm not belittling what you are going through, what you may be feeling on your journey. The only thing that I want to offer to you is similar to what Don said. I would rather it be, and I'm sorry you're going through, but I would much rather you be healing from this than healing from a divorce later. I know this hurts, but I want you to shift your perspective, if you will, if you can, and be grateful that you're healing before a marriage. You didn't even cross that line. Because I would much rather you heal now than hurt to that degree later and have to heal from that. It's something about when a man and woman comes together in a marriage, you literally do become one. And the realization that it doesn't work, it could be the worst marriage in the world. Once you realize it's over, it does something to you here. Because marriage is a commitment not only to one another, it's a vow before God. And
Yeah.
when it fails, you feel like the ultimate failure. I've done a lot of things in my life, a lot of things. You know, I've had great successes, I've had hard lessons, I've had tough things, you know, that I had to overcome. However, I never felt like more of a failure than I did when I realized my marriage was over. I felt like I just ultimately failed God. Now, I don't know why that is. I don't know why. I'm just telling you how I felt. But it's something about having to recover from a failed marriage that it takes something out of you. It takes something out of you. So again, I'm so sorry. I hate that you are hurting. I'm glad that you're allowing God to do what he needs to do in your life. I'm positive that you're going to find that virtuous woman. I'm positive of it. And it's going to be the right woman. And you're going to live happily ever after in God the way that he intended for you to live. You're going to have life more abundantly. I believe it. But I'm just glad that you're going through healing of an engagement, and not, because I never want you to experience. Anybody who's listening that's single, anybody who's listening that has not been married, please hear my heart. I never I want you to heal from relationships. I don't want you to heal from a broken marriage. I don't. What
Like,
y'all
oh,
laughing at?
Sorry,
Because
you
I
cut
ain't
out.
said nothing
nah,
funny.
cause you had
You
popped
cut
out.
out for a second. Yeah,
And then you came back. Nah, but you preaching though. You preaching.
But
Go
I'm
ahead.
preaching.
Yeah, you are.
100%.
But I
Yeah,
guess that's my cue. I guess the doors of the church are open now.
yeah.
That must be my point to shut up. I'm
I'm getting
going
the
to hush
offering
now. The
plate
doors
right
of the
now.
church are open. Is there one today? Will there be one? Come to
Will
Jesus.
there
Somebody
be
Someone
cue the
one?
come on.
music. Come to
That-
Jesus. Come on.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so that's my tidbit. I'm praying for you. I know you're gonna get to where the Lord will have you to be. And I'm shut up.
I think that's a good place to end off at.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that we've all got some good healing tonight from this particular topic. We want to thank Armand again for this wonderful topic, man. We
Yeah,
truly appreciate it.
appreciate you.
I feel like, this is what the goal for the Kingpin, the King's Court podcast. This is the goal, is to bring y'all those real life issues um that we all go through. We don't want to come up here with no BS and just give y'all just opinions and what sound like. We want to give y'all some meat that y'all can really eat on uh for a long time. We don't want to just give y'all anything just to give it to y'all. We truly sit down and we think about these topics and we think about what's currently going on so we could present it to y'all, because we know that not only we go through these things, but uh we know that y'all go through these things as well. And Armand, just like Courtney said, bro, you dodged the bullet, man. you
Yeah.
you really dodged the bullet, man. Not to downgrade what the hurt that and pain that you um are going through, because we know that even in engagement that hurts. But I'm telling you, it's something about the divorce, man. It just rips you in half, man. Like, it really does, and it takes you a while to truly get your identity back. But we thank God. We thank God for all of you.
You cut out for a
Uh,
second.
no, my wife over here playing. Oh, we thank God. We thank God for you. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Let me get myself back. We thank you all for joining us on tonight. We truly appreciate each and every one of you, and we just pray that you learned something on tonight, because the journey of healing is not easy, but it's doable. And just notice, if we can leave you with anything. Well, I'm gonna leave you with this, and I'm gonna pass it on to if anybody else got any other words. But just to leave y'all with something, just know that God won't put any more on you than what you can bear. Just know that your journey right now, you can handle it. You're able to go through it, and just know that you will go through it. Just trust them. Trust them. I mean, that's all I have to add. And yeah, y'all go ahead. Please hurry.
I got nothing left, y'all. I thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. I can't wait to pop back next month. We already got the topic locked and loaded. Can't wait to see y'all. Y'all know what day we coming on. It's always a Thursday. And yeah.
It's Thursday.
See what next month will hold.
Yeah, once again, appreciate everybody for tuning in and posting their messages and just giving us feedback in real time. Like I said, like we said before, nothing without, y'all. And the idea behind this is we just want to create a community where, people feel welcome first and foremost, and that we can discuss real life topics and hopefully help some people in the process of all that. So appreciate y'all tuning in once again.
Did somebody say Thursday? Hey, but
Did somebody say Thursday.
But no, again, to feed off what they're saying, thank all of you for tuning in. It really means a lot. Y'all bring the energy every single show. Each show gets better and better because of the tremendous feedback. And thank you all for continuing. You sitting here with us from 7 o'clock all the way to close to 8:30. You really rocking with us. That means the world is only going to go up from here. And we really appreciate all of you and cannot wait to do the next episode.
Party's
That's
going
dedication.
up.
Shout out to my girl Janelle.
On a
My friend is
Thursday.
going here, y'all. I saw her say, "Hey, Court," and I didn't get to shout her out, but shout out to her all the way from my hometown.
Here she go right here.
That's my girl, y'all.
Hey, thank you, Genova, and everybody else for joining us on tonight. Here's yours truly, done the Kingpin. Nate, Courtney, Ant. We want to wish you all happy March. And we'll see you all.
What are you doing?
Why? Whose birthday it is?
What? I should get balloons. What?
You can do that.
I did not know that. Okay.
Wow. But we'll see y'all on next. We'll see y'all on next month. Of course, on a Thursday where the party's going up on
Peace,
a
y'all.
Thursday. Peace, y'all. Love y'all. Happy
Yeah.
year.
Y'all take it easy. Oh yeah, of course.